We are back. Everyone, you could be totally honest with me. Did that feel like Interstellar? Listen, I had like 5 options to choose from for the waiting room. Okay, so I hope that was better than your dentist waiting room. But in all seriousness, I am so excited to be back. We are live. So if you are watching this later, you still get the full experience. You just do not get to interact in the live chat. So other than that, everything is the same. We have been waiting, me specifically, for so long. I have to give a big thank you to the team internally at Root, real quick. Alex, Michaela, Dan, Carly, everyone, Objective Brand that has allowed us to do this. Seriously, thank you guys. Now, I can see the excitement. What's up, Peta? What's up, AT? Eric, Billings, Montana, a lot of people. Tim, congrats on retirement. Tim, you were probably on one of the earliest live shows. I remember when you were like, am I going to make this happen? And here you are now. Tim, tell us, what's it actually been like since you've actually been in retirement now for a little bit? Janice, good to see you. Kale, Dean, hello, everyone. Now, guys, if you do not interact in the chat, this becomes a very weird TED Talk, okay? So my only request, if you're driving, don't go try to chat and get in trouble, and don't do that, okay? I'm not going to call on you like we're in 5th grade and I go, why didn't you, Jeff? Yep, we're back. Jeff, I'm not going to go, why didn't you chat? But it makes it really fun for us. So I have a special guest coming on. The special guest, I actually have a few, but the first special guest, he's not Matthew McConaughey from Interstellar, but he's actually way cooler. And he is the CEO and founder of Root. So I'm going to bring James on in just a moment, and then you're all going to get to hear from Josh, our head of culture, on all the amazing changes on how we are rerouting. So what's up, Jeff? What's up, David? I'm watching from a JetBlue flight from Milwaukee to Boston. Wow, David, that is pretty cool. I didn't know we made a deal with JetBlue, but I'll wait for the residuals on that. Okay, so I have an agenda here, guys. So bear with me. I'm the one. I am currently manning the chat. I'm also going to be coordinating with a few different media pieces today. If you can't tell, I'm really stoked that we are back. So I want to make sure I cover everything. So I already mentioned, but if it's your first time live joining us, please interact in the chat. If you have been on many live shows before, just tell me. We are certainly back. If this is your first time, just go in the chat and type first. I just want to get a sense. Over 100 of you have chosen to be here right now. Do you guys know what else you could be doing? Netflix and Apple Plus, they're throwing out the best content ever. You chose to be here, and I do not take that lightly. PETA's like, that is a treat. We get James? Yes, you do. Okay. So please let us know in the chat if it's your first time. Tim, by the way, guys, he got back to us. Retirement's good. Enjoying family, some travel, lots of golf, playing tomorrow and Friday. I didn't get an invite, but Tim, that's all right. I won't take it personally. What makes today truly special that I want to make sure we're going over is the updates we have. You're going to see in just a second. I am going to go over, in fact, I'm going to do it right now. This is our route around the world. How quickly could all of you tell that I made this and not marketing professionals? Kyle's here is like, yep, I could tell in about 2 seconds here. But the reality is we have so many new announcements, so much going on that I want to make sure you're all aware of it, because my hope is that at any point you want to tune in to get awesome content, that we are your spot for that. So I'm going to be going over that in just a little bit. like I said, I am personally watching the chat. What's up, AT? What's up, Steve? Says, love your content, missed the lives. We're all back. First time back after retiring last month. Love to see it, guys. Now, please know, I have a separate little sheet on my own of the best comments that either make me laugh or they're good questions that we will address at the end. So if some of you put in the chat and you go, I didn't get a reply, but that was probably the best thing I've ever written, I caught it. Okay. So don't you worry. I'm watching the chat. A very important disclosure I'm going to put up right now. Alex is like, oh my gosh, thank you. Advisory services are offered through Root Financial Partners, LLC, SEC registered. You guys can read all of this. I'm just going to leave this on the screen for like the next 3.5 hours so that we guys can just read it multiple times. No, I'm not going to do that to you, but it is important that everything we do go over today, obviously not financial advice. We're not doing a case study, but it's still important that everyone knows, of course, we are SEC registered, and we want to make sure you, of course, are consulting with a professional before you take action. Okay. Now, our co-host today is no other than James Canel, who is with us right now. James, I have a special surprise for everyone. So I'm going to go grab that. But in the meantime, I want to say thank you for taking the time to be here. I know recently you were on a little trip. Do you want to show some photos from where you were?
Yeah, I would love to. And also, happy the lives are back. I think a lot of us, it's cool, by the way, just to see how many people here are here for the first time, just reading these comments as I've been sitting in the waiting room. So cool to see all that come in. Yes, I just got back from a trip with my family. We went to Aspen, and I'm just going to share some pictures while we wait for Ari to come back. But I have a almost 1-year-old. Here he is. This is my son here. I've got a 3-year-old daughter as well. And Aspen's the most beautiful place in the entire world, I have to think. So lots of fun times, spent time at the park. In-laws were there. Here's my beautiful wife, Ashlyn, with our children. The water, I think, was a favorite. Both kids kept trying to run and jump into it, and it was freezing. So instead of letting them jump in, took turns kind of lowering them in and letting them touch it with their hands, and they had an absolute ball. So here we are running through the fountains, and this isn't just a personal update. This is also a lot of the planning work that we do is really around how do we use our money to do the things that are meaningful in our lives, spend time with family, pursue adventure, do things that we love doing. And so a big part of what we do at Root is how do we help clients with that? How do we also do that ourselves? And that's just a quick update on how my family does some of that. I love your outfit, Ari.
Thank you. For those that are the Rooties, first of all, James's children are about to be taller than me. Just give it 6 months, okay? I'm a whole 5'3". Now, for those that know the cauliflower, why do we do all these little silly jokes? The reality is we do all of these things so that you guys go, that made sense for the first time. That tax strategy, that estate planning thing, that withdrawal strategy. We're not in love with those things. We're in love with, hey, you can be really wise with tax strategy and retire 1 year earlier and get more time with your family and go try to hang out with James and his family in Aspen. Great. Good luck quantifying that fun. Okay. So thank you, James. This is our cauliflower shirt, one of my favorite gifts of all time.
Did someone get that? Was a listener the one that got that for you, Ari? Did you go get that?
This was a listener who basically, what a nice guy. He got me 2 shirts. He's like, I don't know how tall you are because in your videos, you only sit down. So he got me an extra large that basically I could stand on while wearing it because I'm just that short. And he also got me a medium. So he just went both ways. Super nice. He goes, hey, for the first time, this whole conversion thing just made sense. Thank you. So thank you. I forget the exact name of the person, but it was a gift.
You get a lot. I think when you got engaged, we sent Alice a bunch of roses and we sent you a bunch of cauliflower. And
you did.
Yeah. It was the cauliflower guy.
It was a huge cauliflower. And Alice goes, what have we done? Oh my gosh. So it was really funny. Now, guys, a lot of fun. Thank you. Over 150 of you have chosen to be with us live right now. Here's an update. I currently have my channel under my name, Ari Taublieb. James has his channel under James Canel. We have a bunch of other shows coming out right now, and we are obviously live on both of our channels. James is the CEO and founder of Root, and I am the Chief Growth Officer here. We are re-rooting today. What the heck does that mean? Well, you're about to see in just a second. I'm going to be going over some updates Then I'm going to be showing you literally the best piece of content we've ever put out. And then you're about to hear from our head of culture on how we are actually rerouting, what that actually means. So here's what I want to start with. I know I mentioned that we're going around the world today. Here's what I want to highlight. In the upper left, you're going to see this little root drops section. And once again, make fun of me. Okay, I'm the one that put this together. Root drops is where you just get a drop of knowledge. This is a 3 to 7 minute video from one of my advisors, like Chris Brown here, who's just going over a specific topic, just straight knowledge. Then in the bottom left, you'll see Advisor Unplugged. This is a new show. Both of these are live today, and I'm going to show you them in a second. This is with Jay. Jay, he is our client success manager at Root. If you reach out to Root, he is the one that you will be speaking with. And this is where you're getting to learn a whole lot more about Chris, not just financial knowledge. Then James and I have our show, Root Talks, where we are going and talking about any specific topic together, both giving our insight. And then the big update here, James, I'll let you take it away here because this master plan that we talked about, this was big. This was last year where we was very transparent. Here's our P&L statement. Here's how we actually onboard clients. Here's what makes Root different. And when we did have that master plan over a year ago, it's not always fun, but we had to actually limit the number of people that we can work with to always ensure we're prioritizing current clients. Now, I'm the chief growth officer here, and many people think just grow as fast as possible. No, that actually defeats the purpose of good planning and defeats the good purpose of a real firm that cares about their clients. So James, do you mind providing a fun update to the recent master plan? Not so recent now.
Yeah, I would love to. And there's a whole bunch. So chime in if there's something you want me to touch upon that I don't already. But when we did that last year, I think that we had 20 or so team members at Root. And that was a good sized team for how long we had been around. But the goal was to say, how can we take the things that you and I talk about in our videos, this concept of whether it's tax planning or investment planning, retirement planning, estate, all that stuff. How do we take that, but not just do that, but do that to enable people to live better lives, to be able to pursue their more, which we're going to touch upon in just a little bit here. And as a service-based company, we have, of course, capacity constraints. It's not something that you can do for everybody. There's a whole bunch of time and effort and energy that goes into working with a client, to designing those strategies. And so as a 20-person firm, we can only work with so many people. We today, about a year later, are now a 52-person firm, which means we've been able to expand the number of people that we do work with, which has always been something that is a priority for us. How do we continue to make financial advice just better, from the sense of like, how can we always improve our services? How can we always get better at what we're doing? How can we make financial advice more accessible, meaning make it available to more people than we were previously able to? And in doing that, we're able to continually put pressure on dropping our minimums more and more to serve more people, to continually reinvest into adding more team members, more services, improvement of services. And that's the vision. Keep doing that so we can keep serving more and more people. I know there's a couple specifics on that, Ari, that we touched upon. What specifically do you have in mind that you want me to jump into with that?
I would love to talk about helping more people. And many people know that we're adding more team members. You just mentioned it. Now there's north of 50 people here. If you guys saw our Zoom call from literally last week to a year ago, you'd be like, oh my gosh, this company's growing really fast. Is their service going to ever suffer? Or how are they actually managing the speed of growth? Well, what we care about, we would rather ensure we have so many team members here that every single client feels like they're literally one of a dozen clients, even if that means we're having to make a few more people wait. And we're excited to announce that less people are going to have to wait. Do you want to share that, James?
Yeah. So for the past year, our minimum investment minimum at one point was $3 million. Just practically speaking, the way we limit new client onboarding is investment minimums. And that's not because we want to be a hyper exclusive, hyper elite firm that only works with these people. It's just that is the easiest lever to pull, to say this limits the number of new people we onboard so we can prioritize a high level of service to every single client. We were then able to reduce that down to $2 million. And it was at $2 million for a long time. And we kept working, kept growing, kept trying to build out our resources. And just yesterday, I believe July 1st, we were able to drop that to $1 million, which is great. And by the way, $1 million is still a lot of money. So I don't want to make this like That's still a significant amount of money that not everyone has, but our goal and our mission is to always say, how do we first and foremost prioritize current clients and continue to reinvest in build out our service offering internally? But then how do we make that more accessible to more people? So 1 million is the new minimum, which we're really excited about because it allows us to continue pursuing our mission, our vision, our purpose, which we're going to touch upon in a bit here, and serve more people.
Amazing. I think the reason, just so you all know truly, that we're able to do this is because of this right here. It's all these team members. It's the fact that our team, shout out to Dylan, Colleen is going, yep, wow, Patrice, wow, Jeff, get the freak out. Finally, the people who really have been going, I'm trying to get into Root. We've had many of you share, look, if I need to actually stop working to work with Root, then I will consider that. And we're like, don't do that. Like, work with us when we're in a good position, when we can actually partner. But a lot of you are actually saying, wow, we've been waiting for this. I love that, Jeff. Get the freak out. These amazing advisors, they are coming in with a really thorough process to ensure that they are giving the same experience that you're seeing when you're watching the videos. You're going to come in and go, yep, these advisors, they know the cauliflower. They get the superhero accounts. They know James's candy bar examples. So to me, I think what's really exciting about this, James, and add on as you see fit, is it's almost like all of you are going to have a secret language with your advisor where they are joining, oftentimes working at these big firms going, look, I'd love to work at Root. I just want to make sure I get to choose who I work with. And we're like, that's how it should work. You should have that strict calendar policy that we talk about where I want to see James's name on the calendar next week and go, oh my gosh, not only do I get to talk to James next week, I get to see how his family's doing. I get to show him the value we can add through this new strategy. I am over the moon. I want to run through a brick wall for him. And that's how we hope this feels. So with that being said,
I'm going to add on to that, Ari, real quick, is there's a lot of firms, and this isn't bad. This is just a different business model. There's a lot of firms, they're just a platform, meaning, hey, advisors, come here. We'll give you a certain payout of your revenue. We'll put, we'll handle some of your back office, some of your compliance, and they're all under one firm umbrella, but it's not truly the same firm. Like, if you go to some of these firms, if you get Ari or if you get James or if you get Chelsea or if you get Chris, it's very different experiences, very different philosophies, very different approaches. And that's a fine business model if you're trying to grow the business that way, but that's not how we want to do it. How we want to do it is there's one single philosophy, there's one single approach, there's one single culture, there's one single ethos that all of us embrace. And there's a similar path that everyone's gone through in terms of training, in terms of expectations, in terms of standards, in terms of how we at Root work with clients. And that's why we've limited our growth. It'd be easy enough just to say, hey, advisors, come here and run your existing business on Root's platform, but that defeats the purpose and the mission of what we're trying to do. So it's very intentional about trying to create that streamlined experience across the board, regardless of who the actual advisor is.
Really good clarification there. I have a quick story before I'm going to show you guys a few updates, and then we're going to really get into what today's live show is all about, which is the rerouting. Now, I'm going to make myself larger for just a moment here, and you guys many of you know this story already, so feel free to go back and watch the interstellar music in the waiting room if that's more entertaining. But what I want you all to know is at one point, my parents had a few advisors. That's why I eventually became an advisor. It was not an optimal experience, let's just say. They eventually had one advisor they really liked. I didn't believe they were up to the competency standards. They should be, but regardless, my mom really liked them. My dad was indifferent, just letting my mom talk to the advisor. And they were getting good service. It felt proactive. Was it the best quality of service? That's a separate conversation. And then they started to feel the service was lacking. And that happens at a lot of firms where you start to feel like a smaller client. So my dad went to my mom and he's like, did you tell them something in like the last meeting? Or like, did you send them cauliflowers, like a stupid gift? No, they didn't do that. But my dad was like, what did you do to my mom? And like, my mom's like, I did nothing. We're getting less emails for some reason. And then they found out a different advisor at that firm quit. Guess where all those clients went? My parents' advisors. So my parents' advisor didn't change. They'd love to be proactive. You can't if you have 600 clients trying to help everyone. If you're trying to help everyone, you help no one. So we never want that to be the experience. We want you to feel like you're one of a dozen clients. So I think that's an important thing for all of you to recognize that, yes, I am the chief growth officer. I'm trying to grow and help as many people as possible. Why? It allows for more career opportunities internally. It allows all of you, like Rod, who's going, Ari, James, I'm in your minimum 1 million. I want to be a part of it. Like, make yourself, how can we help more people? We're going to address these questions later, guys. Patrice, how many clients will each advisor have? Is there an average? You know what we say, Ethan? Just unlimited, go for it. No, we have a structure. We're going to talk about that today. But this whole show today, this rerouting, is for one real primary purpose. And I hope you guys are about to get the goosebumps that I get right now. Watch this.
We all have an idea of what life could look like if we had more time, more money. But more isn't the dream. It's what's made possible with more. Doors open, paths clear, and the future you've always imagined becomes the one you're living. At Root, we see financial wellness as a key, not to having more, but to living fully, freely, with purpose. We're here to walk alongside you, to turn uncertainty into clarity, and what if into why not? Because when you have a plan in place, you live more, you give more, you grow more. Those are the mores that truly matter. The ones that change everything.
I go to sleep to that every night, just for all of you to know. I still get the goosebumps. I've seen it probably 200 times. James?
I love it. Yeah, that's the more, but not more money. We talk about this all the time on our videos. Of course, more money is better, but unless it's connected to something bigger than that, that more money isn't what brings that sense of fulfillment, that joy, that adventure. So how do we connect that to a bigger picture vision for all of our lives, which is really why we do financial planning. So I love it.
Love it. Rod's like, how did you get me as a surfer in you didn't pay us for that. Rod, you donated that to us. I just saw it on Google. We just picked you. Now, guys, Tim, appreciate all the comments coming in here. Glad to see your team's success has allowed Root to grow and help more people. That's why we do it. PETA goes, nice. Guys, I every single time see that, get the goosebumps. Now, I want to bring on Josh. And Josh, I'm going to make you the star of the show and make you nice and big here. So Josh is our head of culture. He's the one really ensuring that the clients love working at Root, that our employees love being at Root, and so much more. So Josh, I'll let you have the floor and go over our rerouting.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you, Ari. Thank you, James. I love that spot too. I do watch it a lot, maybe not every night like you do, Ari, but no, it's just so cool to get that message out, that message of more. For us, this idea of rerouting was really, really important because as you guys have been talking about and people who have been outside looking in, right, that growth has been pretty incredible, and growth can be scary. Growth can be exciting. It can be all the things, but the reality is we are growing and we're not going to stop. So rerouting, that was the core focus for me personally when joining the company 9 months ago, which is crazy. I would say I feel like this time warp of I've been here forever and I've only been here a week. So rerouting is essentially what we mean by that is ensuring that we have an incredibly strong foundation to grow upon. And yes, that comes across in so many different ways, right? Not only the service model, what we do for our clients, our planning strategy, but really for us, it's the why. Why do we exist? So that was the process that we kicked off in terms of, hey, we should take a look at things like our purpose, our vision, our mission, our values. That's actually going to be the thing that is going to sustain us through all this growth. And I kind of want to, before I keep going on that, I want to pass it over to James because this is something that was super important to you, even when you guys were, I would say, smaller, right? 5 people, 10 people, 15 people, 2 people, just you and Ari. And it's always been fascinating to me, like how were you able to have that foresight and wisdom of purpose and mission and vision and values as this thing to sustain you?
To me, there's always been this thought that it's only worth doing if it's fun. Like growth is scary at times and growth is a lot of work at times. And there's all these things that go with it, but it's incredibly fun, incredibly invigorating. And a big part of that is because there's this big purpose that we do all strongly believe that we're not just crunching numbers. We're not just delivering spreadsheets, but we are actually helping people to get the most out of life, to be able to look back on their lives in 20, 30 years and say, my life was better because I had this relationship with Root. Like that's the intent behind it all. They helped me to use the resources I built and connect those to a meaningful, purposeful life. And so that inkling was always there, that to do that well, you really need to be able to have a mission that people can buy into, have a purpose that people can buy into. If you're going to do the work that comes with growing quickly like we have and do it in a sustainable way where it's not through churning through lots of team members and churning through lots of clients, but having a very strong, all these could always be improved, of course, but a very strong team member experience, a very strong client experience, there has to be a mission that everyone is connected to. So a big part of that, Steve Jobs has a famous commencement speech. He spoke at Stanford in 2005. And in it, he talked about the fact that in life, every single experience you have is like a dot, and you can only connect the dots looking backwards. So he gave his example was, hey, I was born, I was put up for adoption. The family that was going to adopt me didn't adopt me, ended up getting another family. From that changed the trajectory of my life. I dropped out of college. I got fired from Apple at 30. And he's like, looking backwards, all those were little dots. And you see how those dots start to connect and take you to where you are. And there's a beautiful visual of this. There's a guy named Jack Butcher that just he takes these philosophical, not quotes, but these concepts and puts them to perfectly visualized. I'm actually going to share a screen. I pulled it up here while I'm talking. He illustrates them. And he has this concept of, calls it diverge, converge, emerge. And let me figure out how to use this share feature, and I'll show you. This is his blog post, and what he puts right here is, like Steve Jobs talks about, your whole life is dots. And Ari, when you joined, this is what we're doing. What are our services? So Ari joined 4.5 years ago as the first team member here at Root. What are we doing for clients? What's our service model? How are we marketing this? How are we serving people? How do we think about growing this thing? We were diverging. We were collecting all of these dots. At a certain point, you get those dots and you start to see things, you start to see the connection between them. And that's where you kind of converge back to say, okay, how do we start connecting these dots? What is it that people are really looking for when they work with us? What's our true value as advisors? What's really connecting with clients, with team members? What's really our purpose as we start to go through this? And then where I feel like we are right now is the emerge portion. We've collected the dots. We've connected the dots. Now, how do we reroute? How do we emerge saying, this is who we are. This is what we stand for. This is a thing that we're going to do. And so you can only connect the dots ever going backwards, looking backwards, but all of our lives are this series of experiences, new things, trying things. And then the more that you do, the more clearly you can see if you continually think about it. And that feels like where we are right now.
I love it. Yeah, thank you. And again, it's just such a cool moment in time for Root to be at the size where we are now. We just crossed 52 team members, as Ari mentioned. So rerouting back to why we exist. So that's our purpose. And we really wanted to think about purpose, mission, vision as decision-making tools, not just flowery words, right, that are on the website that sound nice. Unfortunately, a lot of organizations, that's where your mission statement lives, your purpose statement. It's on some buried about page somewhere that no one looks at. We really wanted to be it like, this is our decision-making mechanism, right? So if we can point everything back to our purpose, we know we're going in the right way. So for us, purpose is essentially asking the question, why do we exist? And for us, our purpose is to be the go-to place where people seek to become the better version of themselves, right? So that's our purpose. And it sounds lofty, of course. You're like, what does that have to do with finance? Nothing. But we believe we exist beyond just the realm of finance and wealth management, right? I got obsessed with this idea of blue zones, and you can hit us up in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. But blue zones are essentially physical places around the world where thriving happens, right? People live longer, they're healthier, both mentally and physically. They're aligned with a purpose. So there's just thriving happening. So the idea is like, okay, how does Root become a blue zone? Which I've actually looked up. I've tried, like, can we get blue zone certified or something? And the answer is no. But the idea of making a place where thriving happens, not only for team members, but of course for clients, right? You come to Root because you know that there's an opportunity for you to thrive. And so that's our purpose. We know we have something special here. How do we think about Root as this blue zone? That's why we exist. And then you get into basically the vision, okay? Vision for us, how we define that is, what do we do with our existence? What do we do with this purpose of becoming this place where people can be that better version? And naturally, through, frankly, what Ari's been able to do, James, what you've been able to do, we really do feel like we can be that globally recognized platform. Shout out Loma Linda, correct? California. We can be that globally recognized platform where everyone can have access to the financial tools and guidance they need to live with confidence. So that's the vision, right? Where are we going? Where are we trying to go as an organization, as a company? We want to be that globally recognized platform where everyone has access. And that's not necessarily from a one-to-one client advisor relationship. It can be in many ways, but also through our content, right? Through communities that we build, right? Through our service opportunities. We want to be able to have something for everyone. Lastly is the mission, right? And a lot of people and organizations, they really only focus on the mission, right? What's your mission statement? The problem with that is the mission statement is really just the how, right? And it really is comes from a military perspective, like, hey, the mission is blank, blank, blank. Organizations use that in the same way. And if you just have a mission statement, then that's fine, but you're not getting to the deeper rooted why of what you're doing and why you're doing it. So our mission, how do we do it, right? Our purpose, we want to be this go-to place where people seek to become the better version of themselves. Our vision, what do we do with that, is to build this globally recognized platform where everyone can have access. How are we going to do that? It's the 3 Ps. It's giving our team members and our clients the purpose, the people, and the process they need to make the most out of their life with their money. So that's what we can tangibly do for every single person who works with us, who works for us. Surround them with amazing people, align to their purpose, and make sure that they have the process in place, the plan in place to make the most out of life with their money. And I truly believe that's all you need, really, in life. If you've got purpose, if you got good people, and you've got a plan, then everything else can kind of fall into place. And that's where I feel like we can truly provide a ton of value to the world we live in, not just our team members and our clients.
Love it. Josh, anything else you want to touch on, whether it be the mission, vision, purpose in any other way, whether it be from previous companies you've worked at, the shift that you see, the hiring, anything else there? Do you feel like that covered it?
I think so. I mean, I would say, like, the most important thing is it's easy as you grow. I've been at really large, corporations, very corporate corporations in the past as well. And it's easy to lose sight of these things, right? And from my lens of culture, I mean, I don't want to say it's never easy, but at our size, like, it is containing that culture, nurturing that culture is easier than if you're at a 10,000, 100,000 person, company, massive organization. So it really is those three things. If we can be disciplined in ensuring that our decision making is anchored back to that, then I believe, we can go wherever we want to go. So it's just a reminder, I would say, to ourselves.
Josh, you are a legend. Thank you seriously for everything that you do. We will let you go.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
See you, Josh.
I think it really is powerful stuff, and it's really easy. I mean, how often do you see people go, yeah, here's our about page, and it's in the bottom right next to the privacy policy that you never really get to, or it's clear someone just did a copy and paste from some other website they saw. That is not how it works here. And I think clients feel that. And we hear from clients who do feel that. And there's a few things I want to share a little bit more of, but I'm seeing everyone here saying lots of very kind things. Thank you for those who are putting those in the chat. We're obviously not highlighting every single one of them, but want to say thank you for those who are putting that in, even if it's as simple as, hey, love the authenticity, the simplicity of it. Just so much cool stuff coming in. Obviously, can't share all of them, but I do see them, and I've saved a lot of comments. One thing I really want to make sure that I'm highlighting before we conclude, and we're not about to conclude, but I want to make sure you're aware of it, is our free community. Guys, there's over 3,300 of you in this free community. That is really, really awesome. And these are not just people who are Root clients or people who want to work at Root one day. There are a lot of people who go, look, I watched the videos from James and they really resonate, but James doesn't look like he's about to retire. So maybe if there was insight from someone who is maybe 5 years out from retirement or just retired, that would be helpful to see how they think. Same thing for me. I know I look 9 years old, but the truth is I'm 7. So if you guys want, you can actually go and see in the community here what other people are saying who are in a very similar stage of life. And Janice, that is our goal. We want to make finance cool. And if we're not making it cool and you're falling asleep on us, then that defeats the purpose, which is why I have a mentor other than James, who's my primary mentor. I have another mentor who shared, Ari, if you're not making people laugh constantly, what happens is you're actually losing their attention. So for a long time, I would do a long PowerPoint presentation and I go, come on, clearly this is the most exciting thing they've ever seen. They don't need Game of Thrones. They have this PowerPoint presentation. And I'm going through it and he's like, hey, I know you're trying to help, but you're really not helping in an effective way. So you've got to break it up with giving people ways to feel not just entertained, but educated in a way that makes them take action, which is why sometimes in my videos, I'll say, stop right there. I'm glad you're watching the video. Go ask your spouse how many times you've told them you're going to work one more year and just take one more project and then you're going to quit. And then 5 years goes by and they go, I guess I have been doing that. I just never stopped to think about it. So my quick little break before we get to some fun things. We have a collaboration coming. Many of you are thinking, oh my gosh, is this with like Arsenal? Because you're like a soccer guy, or did James like buy Aspen? Nope, not yet. All right. So this is very exciting. This is a real email I received. Okay. You guys ready for this? So I know I'm trying to man a few things here, so stick with me. This is a client email. I'm going to make it nice and big. They just say, hey, Ari, appreciate you checking in. They gave me a financial update, a family update, and then a random update. They said, we had the opportunity to meet Mr. Beast. I mean, how cool is that, right? So then these are just some fun facts. Is they said, unfortunately, we didn't receive a large windfall, or we would have called you by now, but my son met his idol. We had a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to tour his studio. So here's a few fun facts. This is indeed real money. All of this, ready? I think they are at Root's minimum. Number 2 is they hire people to crumple and straighten out the money as needed. And we learn that they refer anyone they award money to an advisor to ensure they make good decisions. So if Mr. Beast and Root have a collaboration, maybe Mr. Beast comes on next week and we get a little video. For some reason, he's not responding to my emails, but once he sees this live show, I'm sure he'll be in the inbox. So just a fun, quick update there. Other than that, what I want to highlight here is what I'm seeing a lot come through in the chat. But James, is there anything from what Josh went over that you wanted to make sure we're highlighting today?
I would just reiterate what he said of why do we have the mission and vision and purpose? It's because it's a decision-making framework. So Root's only 7.5 years old. We have not been around that long. We've been able to do some cool things in that short period of time, but our vision for what could this become, there's a million things it could become. And as we think about how do we improve services, how do we improve accessibility, how do we improve or give clients more tools, processes, people, et cetera, to help them live better lives, that's the lens that we're looking through. Because what Root's going to look like in the future, hopefully, is bigger, better. But what does that actually look like? It doesn't just mean, limiting to that typical thinking of all we're going to do is more Roth conversions and more investment analyses. But how do we keep thinking through this of how can we be just that resource that truly is a transformation in the lives of all of our clients? So that decision-making framework is really important, not just put on a website, but to truly say, this is how we're making decisions about growth and the things that we can do on a go-forward basis.
Love it. Love it. So here is what I want to go over. A lot of questions were coming in where, hey, if I do work with Root, like how often do we meet? What is the actual process? So we never want to overwhelm, but we obviously have an entire FAQ section that just was released over about a month ago now, which goes over as much as you could want. Okay. Trust me, we don't want to overwhelm here, but we do want to be clear. So what does the personalized process actually include? It is truly holistic. We're doing everything from tax efficient investing to withdrawal strategy to estate planning to insurance reviews. Everything we are doing is ultimately with this mission and vision and purpose of we want you to spend your time on what matters most with who matters most. And who do we work with? What happens after you start working with Root? Do I have enough money to become a client today? Obviously, we want to make sure if you become a client that you don't feel your service would ever suffer, which is why we have to institute these minimums. Where will your money actually be? How does transferring money work? Do I have to hand over everything? Do we commit long term? All of these come with these little videos that I will not make you watch, where we talk about what it actually looks like when you are partnering with Root. How do we justify our fee? What are the fees? How do we charge? What is the role James and I see? We are very transparent. Who do we like working with? How good are our advisors? That was a common question here. Something that I want to do a deeper dive on is this Root University, which we've alluded to in our videos. We've alluded to it on previous live shows, but it's one thing to be a CFP. It's one thing to be certified, but if you've heard it, and you probably have in a previous video, when someone says they're certified, and I'm a certified financial planner, I'll say, great. How many doctors have you met that you would never let touch your body? Most people go, a lot of them. James and I, we were in the classes with people who became certified to be financial planners. I would not let many of them give me a box of tissues. Okay. That's not me being mean. That's just being honest. We are very transparent. There's a reason we don't have 2,000 advisors here right now. Look, we need advisors that we feel really strongly are going to be giving that Root level of service. So check out, I'm going to put it in the chat right now, the Root Financial FAQs. Yes, Alex, we are licensed in all states. Many of you are asking, how do we choose the advisors? Can we even look at the advisors? You absolutely can. I'm going to put in the chat as well. This is a link if you want to look at all the advisors currently taking on new clients. So you're able to, I'm going to give you an example.
We're SEC registered, which means we can work with clients in all 50 of the states, not necessarily licensed in each of them, but
well said. That's why you're on this call. Thank you, James. So no, but jokes aside, when you're on this site and you're literally seeing the advisors that you could be working with here, we're just going to click on Chris just as an example here, because I talked about him earlier. If you want to learn about Chris and all of his Spartan races and all this, you can obviously see about Chris. But under the related content section, you can learn even more. And there are certain advisors that go, look, I like working with people who are going to be transparent and ask me the questions, and they're not going to feel scared to. They're going to say, no, you're not in a position to retire, but here's when you will be. As opposed to, hey, no, you're going to be fine. Yeah, just work till 65 because like your dad did. Like, no, that is not how we do planning here. So you can go learn about our advisors, and that, this is an example of Roth conversions if you move states, but you can also just learn about our advisors. So these are new shows that we are putting out. They are dropping on our Root YouTube channel. So many of you are aware of our Root YouTube channel, but if you're not, both James and I have our own channels that we're streaming live on right now. And then we also have our Root channel. Our Root channel that I'm going to show you guys right now, This is where you're going to be able to see all things Root. So if you want to see the most recent content here, you're just going to see, go meet Chris. This is with Jay, our amazing client success manager. Go see Chris answer a real question. See James and I talk about the superhero accounts in more detail and really get into it. The live show that you're on right now, this is a weekly show every single Wednesday at 3 o'clock Pacific Daylight Time. I always get it mixed up. Is going, you can come right here and I will be here and I will be highlighting my advisor or doing a case study or doing something to show you guys, hey, let's do it in real time, and I get to interact with you guys. So many of you have put tons of great questions in here. I love getting to see them here. Guys, this is why I love these live shows. I feel like this is for me more than for all of you, because I missed you guys in a way that I cannot explain. And I've gotten to have amazing experiences like playing at Arsenal because of all of you. So I'll pull that up just for fun so that many of you guys get to see what you allowed me to do. James, anything else other than, we should probably play the manifesto again because that was just too good, which I'll play at the end. But anything else today that you want to make sure we're mentioning?
No, I think that happy these are back, and these are going to be what people I think probably get about you, Ari, but you have a 100 ideas every single week, which is so fun. And I think that the things that you're doing to highlight advisors, to help clients, to do on these shows is awesome. And there's a lot of thoughtfulness and deep work that goes behind all of them. So this live show doesn't just happen by accident. These Root drops, these Root talks don't just happen by accident. There's a lot of work Ari does behind the scenes to prep for this and to make it all happen. So thank you for everything you do on that.
Appreciate that, James. I couldn't not do it. If you were to say, hey, you're not allowed to do it, then we'd have a real problem, because this is what I love to do. So thank you for all of you who let me do this. I got to go play at Arsenal with my retire early jersey because all of you have supported the channel and allow me to go talk about the things that I love talking about. Early retirement, retirement in general, we talk about it a lot. We're not obsessed with it. We're obsessed with you getting the most life out of your money. So that's it for today's show. Thank you so much. Lyle, yeah, I'll write to your boss. You work every other Wednesday. I'll get you out of work. We'll do what we need to do to make sure you can attend these live shows. That's not a promise, but I'll see what I can do. So that's funny, Lyle. Guys, thank you for all the amazing comments today. You guys chose to be here this evening, this afternoon, maybe morning, based off if you're traveling or wherever you are. So thank you. We're going to end today's show. PETA's going so cool. Guys, first of all, let me ask, was this helpful? You just heard we dropped the minimum and we can help way more people. You just heard about our new show, Root Drops. You just heard from Josh, our head of culture, talking about rerouting and how our mission, vision, and purpose all come in alignment so that you can really spend your time on what matters most. Was this helpful? Let me know in the chat today, or else, once again, this is just some weird TED Talk, okay? Frank's going, thank you, guys. PETA, so cool. Kyle, thanks, guys. I'll let the chats keep coming through. Let's play the manifesto one more time.
We all have an idea of what life could look like if we had more time, more money. But more isn't the dream. It's what's made possible with more. Doors open, paths clear, and the future you've always imagined becomes the one you're living. At Root, we see financial wellness as a key, not to having more, but to living fully, freely, with purpose. We're here to walk alongside you, to turn uncertainty into clarity, and what if into why not? Because when you have a plan in place, you live more, you give more, you grow more. Those are the mores that truly matter. The ones that change everything.
I'm only going to watch that 200 times before bed.